Hey guys, it's Cynthia Stillings with Sarasota Home Specialist. Today we're out with Jared Davis at Tales of the Wild.
Hi, I'm Jared. I'm the president and CEO of Tales of the Wild. Excited to have Cynthia come visit us today. We're an educational facility located right here in Florida. Man, this is gonna be great. Follow us along.
What's their mental capacity?
When we say smart, they're very much, they're very much predators. So they very much process stuff. They process stuff differently than us.
Boy.
When we heard the chuffing, well, the chuffing is the way for them to greet us, right? So they greet us, and so they're smart enough to know, hey, I'm gonna communicate with you to make sure everything's cool, versus the other side, which you don't want to see, which is a growl or something like that. So let's not want to see that, but it's their way for them to communicate with us.
Right, so when they come up to us and chuff to us, we should probably do it back so that they don't want to eat us.
That's probably a good idea.
That's a good thing to tell them.
Yeah, I know. I probably should have taught you that first.
Yeah.
They still have that natural instinct, and the difference between domesticated and wild is that, like, the wild animals still have their natural instincts, right? So if something runs, they want to chase it. If something falls, they want to jump on it. It's part of what makes them wild as tigers.
Hey, girl. She's back there. She's hiding. She's watching us.
Yeah. So here's the big difference between animals in zoos versus animals here. Animals in zoos, they're surrounded by a ton of people all the time.
Right.
And so while it's great for them to be, from an educational perspective, zoos do a magnificent job. Our job is to make these guys feel as at home here as possible. So we want them around people. We want them to get used to people. We want people to be their friends, right? So, it's really important because unfortunately, these guys are going to be in captivity for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
So we want to give them the best home possible while they're in captivity, and we want them to know that we love them and we're here to help them and support them. Honey, come on, girl.
So who works here? Like, who runs the facility?
So Tales of the Wild is primarily ran by volunteers. We have a group of volunteers that come all the way around here. A lot of them, have been with us a really long time, 4 or 5 years. And then there's myself and Gil. We're kind of the founding partners. Gil lives on site with the animals. I travel back and forth a lot. Gil's the primary ranch manager here, and we've been together for 14, 15 years.
Yes.
So she's what's called a Tabby Tiger.
Okay.
So a Tabby Tiger doesn't have black stripes, and this is the more typical tiger that you would see in the wild. It's just different genetics. Again, you wouldn't see this very much in the wild because, matter of fact, Gil and I were talking about it the other day that, animals like these, when they live in the wild, they are prime target for hunting, for poachers, and unfortunately we still live in a world where that exists. So you wouldn't see her in the wild very much, and you're still seeing limited numbers of these guys in the wild.
Oh, baby girl.
So any of the ones that you have here, have they just been dropped off? Like someone was like, oh, today I'm gonna go buy a tiger because it's cool. And
at the end of the day, there are good animal owners and there are bad animal owners, right?
Yeah.
The regulations have been so tough the last few years that ultimately there's a lot more good owners now than there are bad owners. For us, it's really important for people to know that there's a lot of good owners out there that are, their job is to help people, learn more about them, to educate people, to, let people have an experience like you've had today,
right,
where they would never have that experience anywhere else, right? So our hope is that they leave that experience and then they want to do something about it. So the reality of it is we do have a large variety. We have primates, we have tigers, we have a ton of reptiles. We are licensed by, USDA. We're licensed by Florida Fish and Wildlife. This alligator actually came from Fish and Wildlife. She came to us. She actually had a broken back leg. The people she was hit by a car. People who wanted to save her. So when we first got her, she wasn't obviously as big as this. She's probably 12 years old. Like, she'd been with us for 12 years, so she's fairly big. But when we first got her, we had her in an above ground pool. And we'd go in every day and we'd grab her by the tail and she would move her feet. So we got her back to exercising, back to using her leg, and just over time, now she's great. We are licensed by USDA, we're licensed by Florida Fish and Wildlife, and so we have all different types of animals. These guys are Reeses macaques. Reeses macaques long ago were used for research.
reach out to Larry,
He'll take them.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, until you put your sunglasses down there, then they're gone. So let's go over and take a look at the lemurs. And again, we picked these up as someone's pet. They were someone's pet that lived in their house with them. They had a great home, so it wasn't that they had a terrible home, it's just that, as they get older, they get bigger, they eat more food, and they get more aggressive because they are wild animals. So,
Right.
So these guys, sulcata tortoises, they get huge. They live for 50 years, as you can see. Someone would get one of these as a pet, and it'd be super small, super cute, and then it would get. Whoa! See, they do move fast.
I think I told you that part.
We'll get them as a pet, and then they get this big, and they really don't know what to do with them. So.
I'm sorry, I thought you liked it. Well, go away. Hi. How are you? Okay, I'm sorry. Can I just take them all home with me?
He's a Bluetongue skink. They live in the section of Australia that's more rainforesty, and they're one of the only reptiles that gives live birth. So they don't lay eggs. He's a good boy, and he's got that blue tongue. That's what makes him stick out.
I don't want to be your lunch.
Ultimately, if an animal needed a home, then then we're going to provide that home for as long as we can, right? So, and definitely, this is Bindi.
She's a carpet python. And they're also from Australia.
At home, don't ever put a snake around your neck. Don't around your neck. I'm just warning the people. Don't.
But is it gonna eat me?
Yeah, it might. There's a chance.
Right.
You're probably pretty safe though.
But like, how safe? It licked me.
There's a rose here trying.
I have hairspray in my hair. It won't hurt it, will it?
That looks good.
This is gonna be my new hat that I'm gonna wear to the office every day. So can I take him with me and then I'll just bring him back in a couple of days?
Our animals used to come from a lot of, people who had them as pets or, facilities that couldn't handle them anymore.
Right.
Our animals today are a mix of both. Our primary job is to educate people about conservation and preservation issues all around the world. One of the reasons here, we want them to bond with people, we want them to get along with people so that they aren't afraid of people. A lot of zoo animals tend to be afraid of people, right? And a lot of zoos want that to be the case. That we want them to keep them as wild as possible. Here, I'm adamantly against keeping them as wild as possible if they're going to live their lives in captivity because I want them to like people. I want them to be, not afraid of people. We feed them, we house them. If anything medically goes wrong with them, we have to be there for them. And I'd rather eliminate their total fear of people so that, we become their friends. I'm so excited that you guys came out today. I really hope that you got something. We hope that you learned something here today that you can take away and share with someone else and remind them that you got to hear Tales of the Wild.
Of course, thanks so much for having us.
Yay!
Yay.